quickly, before we get on with things, I will just do a quick land acknowledgement. So Treaty 6, we are located on Treaty 6 territory, and we acknowledge that the land on which we gather in Treaty 6 territory is the traditional gathering place for many Indigenous people. We honor and respect the history, languages, ceremonies, and culture of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who call this territory home. The First Peoples' connection to the land teaches us about our inherent responsibility to protect and respect Mother Earth. With this acknowledgement, we honor the ancestors and children who have been buried here, missing and murdered Indigenous women and men, and the process of ongoing collective healing for all human beings. We are reminded that we are all treaty people and have all responsibility we have to one another. Awesome. So with that, Colin, thank you so much. We will have a couple of minutes at the end, I think about 20, to answer some questions. And I'll keep note of this, but if you don't mind typing in your questions in the Q&A, that would be amazing. And then I can go through them at the end and get caught up. But with that, I will let yourself, Colin, take it away and begin this. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. All right, folks, welcome to the presentation here. I've titled it AI in Project Management and Leveraging the Power of AI to Effectively Plan and Execute Projects. So this presentation really is all about AI is a new buzzword of the day, but interestingly enough, AI is already injected in a lot of the project management software we use today. So I'm going to educate you a little bit on how that's going, as well as I'm going to talk about some of the new AI, I'll call it generative AI, like ChatGPT, and how we as project management individuals can leverage AI to plan and execute. Okay, so looking forward to that. My name is Colin Knoll. Currently, I'm the Director of Corporate Strategy and Innovation at Service Credit Union. I've been in that role now for about a year. Previous to that, I was Director of Strategy at another financial services company that was sold. And then I spent many years before that working in project management as head of project management office, project manager, business analyst, senior project manager, etc. So kind of done a lot in this space, and really excited to share my learnings with you. I put the last bullet, driven by curiosity and a learning mindset. It's important for everyone to know that when you're experimenting with AI, you really got to adopt that learning mindset when you're doing it. I'm considering myself still a learner in it, but as I learn more, I'm just really starting to see the value in it. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you today. All right, let's start things off. I just wanted to get some feedback from you folks. What do you know about AI, and have you ever used it for project management? So maybe type in the chat box there what you think about AI and if you've ever used it for PM before. I just want to get a sense of what you know about it. Okay, perfect. Not much. I've used it to help organize and plan. Excellent. Never used it. No experience. I've only used ChatGPT, never for PM. Okay, never used it. I've used it. Okay, great. So a little bit of a mixed bag. I'll say that the majority of folks so far have never used it, which means that thumbs up for me. I'm excited. I think this will be a really valuable discussion. Okay. All right, let's get on with things here then, shall we? So what is the definition of AI? There's a lot of buzzword about AI. There's generative AI. There's machine learning. There's artificial intelligence. There's plenty of others. But ultimately, what is AI? Well, it refers to the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, so such as learning, problem solving, decision making. That's a long-winded way of saying AI is ultimately similar to how a human can make decisions. A human has judgment. A human has intelligence to make decisions. Using that same line of thinking and factoring that in with a computer doing the same thing, that's ultimately what AI is. Okay, So there's different subsets of AI. There's artificial intelligence, which is the intelligence component. So predictive decision-making, judgment, things like that. There's machine learning, which mostly has to do with computers leveraging large data sets to learn more and improve how they're actually making decisions. So not necessarily the actual decisions, but the models behind the decisions. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so AI relates to artificial intelligence, and that means, okay, what is computers that can have judgment, decision-making, and predictive abilities. Okay, just like me, just like you, just like everybody else. Now, why is it important? Well, it's really important because it can really make your job easier. It can enhance your efficiency. It can reduce the cost because you're being more efficient. It can improve your decision-making. So sometimes as project managers, we have different blind spots. Maybe we're anchored to a certain way of doing things, and AI can help us actually make better decisions. And in addition to that, it can help crunch all the data on your project to help you allocate your resources better. But ultimately, all those reasons, you boil those down, what do you want AI to achieve? Well, you want it to achieve better outcomes for your project, right? And that's really what it does. Now, here's some interesting stats that are really relevant for this conversation. So look at the first one there. 54% of the time project managers spend on administrative tasks without AI. So in your average day, let's say your average day is an 8-hour day, 4 hours of that day is spent on administrative tasks. What does that administrative task mean? Maybe that could mean doing a schedule. Maybe that could mean updating the schedule. Maybe that could mean updating the risk log. Maybe that could mean allocating resources, many other ways. But 4 hours every day are spent on administrative tasks. So what does that ultimately mean then? That means that potentially AI can help you become more efficient for 4 hours every single day. Who would want that right now? Maybe type in the chat box, give me a thumbs up if that's something you want to do. Certainly I'd want to do that. Get paid for 8, work for 4, sign me up, right? 86% of people welcome AI technology. 86% of people welcome it. So people are already bought into this, and that's the beauty of it. So 8.5 people are already wanting to inject AI into how they do things, but they don't necessarily know how to do it. And then there's a 20% performance increase for project managers who adopt AI. So imagine if you could get faster and more effective with everything you do. Imagine if you had maybe a side assistant or a sidekick to help your projects move along in ways that you never thought possible. That's ultimately what AI can do for you guys. So that's these are really key stats, and it really speaks to the point that there's significant opportunity for AI to automate, and there's significant opportunity for AI to actually increase performance for PMs. Significant. So you folks as PMs, you should be eating this up right now and thinking to yourself, okay, work for 4, get paid for 8, sign me up, right? All jokes aside, but that's really how I'm thinking about it too. Okay, just get faster and better at what we're doing. Now, from a project planning perspective, there are really ultimately 3 ways AI can help project planning. So the first way is documentation. So we've all heard of ChatGPT before, right? And if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, maybe just type into Google, type in ChatGPT, click on the link, sign up, and test it out, play with it. But ultimately, what ChatGPT is it's a platform, and I'm going to talk about it very basic, but it's a platform that is conversational in nature, where you can ask ChatGPT a question, and it will spit out a response to you. So I can say, okay, why do the Edmonton Oilers never win the championship. And I'm a Calgary guy, so I'm going to make that joke here today just for fun. But it would probably spit out some sort of actual factual response to that. Okay. So ChatGPT is now, how can that help you with documentation? Well, if you have specific documentation for a project, like let's say you need to build a scope of work, or let's say you need to build a risk log, or let's say you need to build a project charter, you can actually ask ChatGPT to do all of that work for you. And in seconds, it will literally list out all of that work and it'll document exactly what you want. Now, will it be perfect? No. Will it give you a good start on things? Yes. So just keep that in mind. It can easily write documentation in AI and in seconds. So I've tested out before, and I've actually written a project charter that would typically take me maybe 4 hours. It's written it up for me in probably about 10 seconds. So 4 hours, 10 seconds. I'm going with 10 seconds. Okay. Scenario analysis. AI can help project managers do scenarios on their projects. So for example, and when I say scenario analysis, what I mean is, if this happens on the project, then what? If I put this resource on these tasks, how does that impact my other tasks? That's the type of scenario analysis you can ultimately run with AI. And then last but not least, ChatGPT and AI in particular can be that third eye. And I often refer to it as the sidekick. So if I'm Batman, Batman needs a Robin, and AI can be your Robin. So AI can help you find those bottlenecks, find issues with your project, let's say that maybe a human eye can't find, or maybe a human eye can find it, but ChatGPT and other AI solutions can find that in seconds, as opposed to minutes or hours. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'll pause there though. Does anybody have any questions on this before I move on to the next slide?
We do have a couple of questions, Colin. Thank you for pausing really quickly. One of the bigger ones is, how secure is ChatGPT and how can you use it at work?
Yes, so ChatGPT, I would say, is pretty secure. However, I wouldn't recommend just yet putting a lot of private data into ChatGPT in general. So I would use it for general tasks that you want to do, but would I put any customer data into ChatGPT? No. Would I put any data like specific data related to employees or anything of that nature into ChatGPT? No. So just keep that in mind. But is it secure as a platform? I would say yes. There's been a lot invested into ChatGPT, literally billions of dollars, and they've created a solution that is quite secure. Having said that, the smart and prudent way would be just to test things out first. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of people are mentioning using proprietary software such as data loss prevention as well. And another question that also came in is, can you comment on the ethics and limits of AI?
Sure. I'm going to park that. I'm going to park my response till the end of the presentation. I'll talk about that on one of my last slides.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll just wait going forward for the rest of the questions.
Sure. Yeah, let's
Awesome.
do that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, what are some other tangible benefits of AI? I'm actually going to breeze through this fairly quickly because I already talked about it, but it improves efficiency. So I talked about that automation angle that is really key. It can make you more accurate as a project manager. So it can analyze large data sets that you might have and provide pretty accurate predictions. And I've tested this out myself. It can optimize your resource allocation. So it can look at all of the resources on your project and really determine, let's say, the best way or the way to maximize your productivity on your project. And that's kind of what I talked about before with the scenario analysis. It can also look at your project and identify potential risks and suggest mitigation strategies, which is great. It can improve decision making. So you can plug your project information into AI, which, by the way, isn't just ChatGPT. That's just one segment of it. But you can plug your data into AI, into your AI solution, and then it provides literally recommendations on the spot, which I'll show you in a bit. and it can do predictive analytics, which is a nice way of saying it can predict different outcomes or KPIs. Okay, so on your project, let's say it can predict your budget, it can predict your schedule time, it can predict your if you're going to reach scope, that type of stuff. Okay. All right. Now there's a lot of free AI tools and use cases. I captured this list here. So I have ChatGPT, Notion AI, Perplexity.ai or .io, sorry, and Dectopus. It's a nice name. I would just suggest, folks, if you, I would just suggest taking a snip of this this slide here or writing this down and doing your own research into these AI tools. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But ChatGPT is more of that conversational type solution where let's say you give it a question, it'll give you a response right away. Notion AI is more about organizing information. Perplexity is similar to ChatGPT in the fact that it's a conversational type solution, and Dectopus, still like that name, but that can create you some engaging presentations. And believe it or not, I actually created this presentation using Dectopus. Pretty neat, hey? And yes, the slides will be available later, so keep that in mind. Okay, moving on here. So these are 4 examples of free AI tools and use cases. There's probably about 20 to 25 other ones that are solid too, which you could easily find just looking them up on Google. Okay, now here's an example of how you can use ChatGPT. So I asked in the yellow there, I asked ChatGPT, "Hi ChatGPT, can you prepare me a scope of work for the construction of a house? The house will be 1,800 square foot and 3 floors and built like a modern infill." Okay, ChatGPT, very polite. "Certainly, here's a sample scope of work." And then what it does is it details out your entire scope of work, and it literally did this in 10 seconds. Honestly speaking, like this, I have their project overview and a scope of work, but honestly, when I went through this ChatGPT, there was probably like 5 other pages I could have included on here. I just included this little snip. But isn't that unreal how incredible that is? I could type in, "Hi GPT, can you prepare me a scope of work for an ERP implementation?" And it would right away, it would spit you out a scope of work in seconds. It's pretty neat. So that's one example of how you can use it. That really speaks to the documentation that I was talking about. This is what I also did. "Hi ChatGPT, can you prepare for me a common risk log for an ERP implementation? In the risk log, can you include common risks, the probability of occurrence, the impact, and the mitigation strategies?" "Certainly." ChatGPT is always polite. I love it. Jots down the risks, jots down the probability, jots down the impact, jots down the mitigation strategies. That took all of 10 seconds. If I wanted to type that out myself, that would have taken me, well, I'm pretty fast, so maybe 30 minutes, but either way, it still saved me 30 minutes. Is that not impressive? Maybe thumbs up if you think that's impressive. Thumbs down if you're a pessimist and you don't like any of this stuff. Just kidding, thumbs up. Okay, how else? Oh, I thought you had another slide on this, never mind. But I think you get the picture. So how you can use ChatGPT is for, I'm going to say, mundane tasks that project managers don't like developing a scope of work or a project charter or a risk log. And it can help you create the framework behind all of those items. And then you would have to go in there, read it yourself, of course, but just tweak up the language as you see fit. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Again, just add some questions in the chat box there, and we'll get to those shortly. Okay, other tools other PPM tools that are integrating AI, check those out. So MS Project will be integrating AI, and they'll be doing so through a Microsoft Office Copilot solution. Atlassian is integrating AI, Acuity is integrating AI, and Keyed In is integrating AI. These are all project portfolio management solutions that are integrating AI, but honestly, there's a list of 10 other ones that are doing just the same. So I would suggest doing your research doing your research regarding these PPM tools and if they're adding AI features. If not, if your solution that you use for your work isn't on here, I would suggest just reach out to the vendor and ask them what their AI roadmap is. And they might tell you if they're implementing AI, or they might give you a background in terms of what AI they already have. Okay, so keep that in mind as well, folks. Here's what Microsoft Copilot can do. Check this out. So this is Microsoft Word document, and you can ask it to draft a proposal from yesterday's meeting notes. So I can take meeting notes. Let's say my assistant takes meeting notes for my meeting. I can take those meeting notes, ask Copilot to draft me any sort of work, a proposal, a roadmap, a project charter, a schedule, a summary, an action item list, anything you want. How cool is that? So yeah, unflippin' real. Pretty neat, right? It can also record a meeting and ask an AI chat tool to create meeting notes. Exactly. There's so much you can do with this. It's just undiscovered. I don't work as much in project management anymore as I used to. I probably spend maybe 50% of my job doing that now, PM type work. So I can't get in there as much to test things out, but there's so many things I don't even know right now that you can do with Copilot that you just got to test out and learn yourself. So, but what I'm trying to do is just give you the tools and the framework and the solutions already, so you can go in there and test it out to see how it works for you. Okay. All right. Predictive AI. Check this out. The solution HiveMind. Look at this. I put in yellow. So I can actually generate a task for HiveMind. So I want to launch a Super Bowl commercial for Hive. And then what HiveMind will do is it will actually suggest other actions to undertake. So craft a creative concept and storyboard, partner with the creative agency, and secure talent and location. So that means that I can do the same thing for project management, right? So I can actually ask HiveMind to do a task for me in project management, and then it would suggest other sub actions that I might want to undertake. How cool is that? It's doing the thinking for me. I'm not telling my employer it's doing the thinking for me though, because I still want to get paid here. But you see my point, right? So yeah, basically that's the predictive aspect of things. What is the PM for if they cannot think? Yeah, you're right. But a good PM should be integrating these solutions into how they're thinking about things. And a good PM is leveraging data, and a good PM is leveraging project information. And the beauty of AI is kind of like my Batman and Robin piece I was talking about before. If I'm Batman, AI is that Robin. AI can help out supplement what I'm already doing, right? No, that's not the case, Simon. While I can appreciate a little bit of skepticism here, you can't fully replace human judgment on projects. It just isn't possible. So, but yeah, the client certainly is buying a client is certainly buying a project manager that has a skill set already that can leverage tools to make projects go even faster, right, and better. Okay. So project planning. How are PPM and PM software providers leveraging AI or integrating AI? Well, there's different ways they're going about things. There's automated scheduling. There's resource allocation. There's risk prediction. There's cost estimation. And there's decision support. Okay, those are really the 5 buckets I found about how software providers are actually integrating AI. But basically, my challenge to you folks is to test out these elements using different AI tools like the ones I've already shared. And ultimately, though, what it's helping with and our classic project planning, right? So scheduling is a common project planning technique. It can help you with that. allocating resources or determining what resources are required, it can help with that. Predicting risks, I already proved it to do that with the risk log it generated through ChatGPT, so it can do that. Cost estimation, you can plug in costing data from a previous project into AI tools, and then given new factors, it will reforecast what another budget would be. And then it can also provide other data-driven insights. So there's a lot, certainly a lot that it can do here, which really this slide reflects. Okay. All right, now, key thought here. If AI can process vast amounts of project-related data quickly and accurately, and offering insights that can inform strategic decisions, think of then what's possible. So that's my challenge to you right now. So maybe type in the chat box here, what do you think is possible with AI that maybe I haven't talked about already? So I'll pause there and maybe give you 30 seconds here to jot down some of your thinking. So helping clients write business plans, absolutely. Create lesson plans, absolutely. And take meeting minutes, yep. Future projections, yep. Replacing the admin assistant. She or he might not be happy with that, but yeah, you're right. Bring in data from different sources, you bet. Every single point here that you're mentioning, except for getting your kids to clean the room, AI can probably do in some capacity. Nice try there. I like that one though, that was good. How do you know I'm not even AI? You don't know that. I could be AI right now. You don't even know that, do you? There's a person. I'm not Colin Knoll. Colin Knoll's pulling strings right now, typing away. As Colin Knoll. Yeah, exactly. I like that there, Delmer. Either way, folks, the point here is there's a lot possible that I don't know, you don't know, and many others don't know, and we got to discover that. So again, I just wanted to tell you, get in there, experiment and learn. Okay. All right. AI and project execution. Kenneth, I'm a robot. Come on. You know this. All right. Now, what are key problems that project managers have that can be helped through AI? I already did really talk about this already, but one of them is analyze resourcing issues. So you can put in your data into a software, and then it'll tell you maybe where some of your issues are with the resources. It can optimize your allocation, so it understands the issue to help you optimize. It can monitor your data in real time, which ultimately all PM software ultimately does do. And then it can prioritize tasks and dependencies. Okay, so all of the above, this is what this slide says. Okay, now what are some examples of automation? I talked about it already. Project charters, business requirements docs, resourcing plans, schedule development, go live readiness, and user training. The list literally goes on and on. Okay, so I would say any sort of document that needs to be typed out can easily be somewhat automated or semi-automated. Next question, AI and action items. How much time does this save? So imagine this. Imagine a world where you're plugging away, working your tail off in project management, and then ultimately AI reviews everything you're working on right now and then suggests for you action items. Imagine you're an individual or you're an individual contributor on a project, and AI every day suggests action items for you to do based off what's already in the system. Yeah, thumbs up for me too. I love this too, Richard. Again, time is money, folks. Time is efficiency. If you can do 8 hours of work in 4 hours, sign me up. Right? Just don't tell anybody. All jokes aside, That's the predictive angle of AI, okay? And that's what software is building in, okay? What software is this used from? I'll have to check, okay? I took this sniff yesterday, but I can't remember at this time, but I'll get back to you here. I'll look at my notes. Same salary, less hours. Love that, right? Love that. Okay, moving on here. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right, actually. It's Notion. Okay. All right, now I talked about Copilot already, but what can Microsoft Office and Copilot do? I think it was Tim who mentioned summarize meetings. It can set action items. It can create slides, and most of this slide deck was actually created through AI. It can generate plans, risk assessments, automated status reports. So everything I've shown already, Office and Copilot can do too. Okay, but it can do it from Office. Okay, here's a sample wow use case. This one blew me away. Copilot can draft a proposal based on meeting notes and an existing roadmap. So Copilot can take a product roadmap and meeting notes to develop another document. How cool is that? This was the one that wowed me the most. So I thought this was just amazing. So it's not even, you don't even need to add data into the system. You don't even need to type out anything for them. You don't need to copy and paste. You don't need to do anything. All you got to do is reference your meeting notes, reference your product roadmap, boom, it'll spit out for you a proposal. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And guess what, folks? AI is just getting started. So think about how the internet has changed over the past 20 years. Think about the internet of even like let's say like the late 90s or early 2000s. Remember dial-up? Remember when you couldn't use the internet when you're growing up, when your mother and father, let's say, were using the telephone and you couldn't use your dial-up landline? And then think 20 years later to what internet is now today. Now think about AI now, which is really grassroots level, and then think about that in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So that's my way of saying, folks, if you don't get on the technology train, you're going to get lost behind. And I'm not mincing my words either. I truly do believe that, folks. So yeah, hopefully I'm hyping up AI enough for you folks to really start digging in. Okay. Now, question of the day. I know we had someone a little bit skeptical here today, but do you think AI can replace people and the project manager profession? Maybe type that in the chat box what you think about that. I'll give you 30 seconds. Oh, you guys are so biased. Of course you're going to say no. You're project managers. You want to continue on with your profession. I'll give you my thinking. Okay. My thinking is that AI can never replace a project manager because a lot of the project management profession does come down to those soft skills, those communication skills, and the ability to actually plan and see ahead. Having said that, think of AI as your supercomputer. So I'll give you an example of how I'm looking at it. Remember the days, and this wasn't that long ago, but do you remember the days of maps when you used to have those hard copy maps? And let's say you wanted to travel to BC, you'd look at your map, then you'd write down your different directions, then you'd finally eventually get there. Sometimes you'd get lost, sometimes you'd make it. Or driving in the city, you'd have a big map out, you look at the map, you'd probably get lost half the time, and then you'd go from there, right? Once Google Maps came about, that completely automated the thinking aspect of route planning. So I'll say 95% of the time, if you use Google Maps, the technology is so good that you'll get to where you want in an optimized way. I'm viewing AI and the project manager profession that same way. So yeah, you're still going to have that PM profession, but AI is going to optimize every single thing you do So when you use those tools, you'll just get better, faster, stronger. And that's ultimately what you want to be as a leader, a project manager, leader in the profession. Does that make sense, folks? I guess Norma's thinking a little bit about this, but so I'm comparing it to how we use Google Maps, let's say, because we use Google Maps in a really optimal way. And I think that AI is going to be that same way. Okay. It's going to really speed up things and just ultimately make us better, faster, stronger. Better, faster, stronger. Makes sense? Sounds like the pitch for privatization. Definitely makes sense. Good analogies. Thanks, Kenneth. Okay. So let's see what else other people said here. And I drank my coffee today, guys. I am singing better, faster, stronger. Now, there's risks. Sadly, there are risks to AI. And as an opportunist, I usually hate the risk word. Not gonna lie, I'm an opportunity guy, but there are risks, and it's important to factor those into how we think about AI and how we leverage AI. Okay, so still laughing at that better, faster, stronger. Anyways, so here are some of the risks. Privacy and security considerations. So I talked about this before, but you don't want to put in sensitive data into any of your AI solutions because you can't trust where that data is going. And there could be privacy concerns with you sending, let's say, customer data into another solution, and they might have their servers on another country or something like that. Okay, so there's just a lot of considerations there. Data breaches can happen. So that's another reason why you don't want to put all of your sensitive customer data into an AI tool. Do users consent to data sharing? That's a consideration as well, because obviously, if I know an organization is using my data, I don't really consent to them sharing my data to everyone, including other platforms like a ChatGPT. And then ultimately, these days, almost every business is cloud first, and putting your data in the cloud. Let me rephrase that actually. Putting your data in an AI tool that leverages the cloud also does put your organization at risk. Okay, so these are the major considerations there. Now, what else? Well, using AI can increase your dependency and reliability of it. So I can sense that it might make it so you don't think as much, which for some people might be a good thing. No, I'm just kidding. But ultimately, I think what it could do is, and this is a poor value proposition for AI, but you can rely on it too much where you actually make bad decisions. So you have to use it in a very smart way, because ultimately AI lacks judgment that project managers have that AI might not necessarily have yet. Okay. And in addition to that, sometimes data within AI software can be unreliable. So you need to test that data. Okay, so that's a consideration. And then there's also the loss of human interaction. So AI, even though I'm a robot and communicating, and I like to think I'm a good communicator, not all AI robots are like me and good communicators. AI can't necessarily communicate, and they're not usually the best communicators. So if you ask ChatGPT to write you an email to a difficult colleague, it might not write the best email. So it might not be fit for purpose in that way. It also lacks contextual understanding that only a human being can understand. So keep that in mind. So AI robots are they're based off data and information, whereas a human has elements like empathy and emotional intelligence that an AI doesn't have. Okay. Can AI build relationships? No. PM, part of being a really good project manager is building those relationships, right? AI can't necessarily do that. And then can AI read the room? Nope, they sure as heck can't do that either. Okay. In conclusion, just wrapping things up here, folks. Key takeaways. AI can help project managers, project leads, and end users be more efficient and effective. We talked about that. That's a check mark. AI is not going away, and it's just getting started. So I compared that to the internet of the 90s and the dial-up internet. AI is here, and it's probably in its first 10 years, I'll say. Imagine the next 10 years, it's going to blow your mind. There's plenty of free tools that exist right now, but be mindful of the risks. And then a good PM, no, I'll say a great PM will give AI a fair shake and we'll test it out. Okay, that wraps up the presentation here today.